Thanks, Umang, for having us. Great show. Well done. So we are going to talk about the way the travel distribution in the country is evolving. My name is Viren. I'm the co-founder and CEO of VIDEC. We do market research, commercial due diligence, and M&A in travel. On my panel today, I will have airline guys, distribution guys, Patel, outbound, technology, the works. I think outside of the Indian consumer behavior, all there is to know about travel and the way it is evolving, we will cover it. So where else you would rather be but to be here, right? I would also pepper in some data because that's what we do. So we will have lots of talks and guidance from the panelists, but just to have your undivided attention and also to bring some more color to the whole conversation, we will have data and insights. Without further ado, I would like to call upon stage my four panelists. Anoop from ITQ. Anoop, please join me on stage. Chirag from TravClan. Hi, Chirag. Hi, Anoop. Pleasure. Please. Yes, in order. Jaal from Travel Designer. Hi, Chirag. And Hussain. Tripjack. Welcome all of you. So we had throughout the 2 days, we had a lot of talk about the growth in the Indian travel market, right? Just everybody's talking about it. We have a lot of distribution play on stage. Do you guys want to take the first stab in terms of, and across the categories, airline, hotel, outbound, non-air piece, which are the drivers that you foresee will be driving the growth of the Indian travel market? We go in this order, please.
See, I think you'll have a lot of data to add upon, but just to give you certain macro numbers, and some of the numbers might not sound good, but they will also indicate the tremendous opportunity we are sitting at. Total Indian, and I'll start from the airline point of view, is total number of aircrafts, commercial aircrafts in India is still less than top 3 carriers of US, right? So you see the opportunity over there. Second, the number of airports which are in pipeline is more than 16 3 years, and more than 200 in next 15, 20 years, which the government has been quoting. When we talk about airports, it's not only about new airports coming in, new runways in the airport also coming in, and basically that will add into the volume of traffic. Thirdly, and very importantly, and what we miss out is certain social indicators, like, if I talk about number of passports in India, it's only 6% or 7% of Indian population, one of the least across the world. We look into this propensity of travel, right? It is 0.3, which can be compared to countries like Bangladesh or, propensity of data is basically an indication of a number of people who travel in India by air. And when we say 0.3, if you look at it in a positive way, there is a tremendous opportunity because we know that income levels are going up, middle class is expanding, more and more people are being introduced into the air travel. So, and the last one I like to talk about it, and what that is something which is holding this growth also is first time it is not demand which is an issue, it is a supply which has, and it's been for some years now, especially after COVID. There are no aircrafts, airlines want to have more aircraft, there are no aircrafts available. So these are the, like I gave you the opportunity side, the growth, you can't even actually project any numbers beyond 5 years in India. It's moving so fast. And we only held up with certain global factors, which are supply constraint and aircrafts non-availability, some infrastructure issues. Hopefully, all this will be addressed in the next 2-3 years, and we're sitting at a real boom now. In fact, the fastest growing sector in India today.
Thank you, Anoop. We have limited time. I would request panelists to keep it short so that we cover more ground.
Sure. Data-wise and macro-wise, I think Anoop has spoken well about it. The outbound travel is likely to grow almost 3 times in the next 5-6 years. A lot of aircrafts are coming in, a lot of hotels are coming up, and we have been participating at OTM for last 3 years now. And we see new and new companies coming up every year, right? So that means that a lot more opportunities are there. And these are a lot of young entrepreneurs, I would say, who have recently gotten into the travel sector, travel as a category. And if you look at outside travel and within travel as well, right? So technology and AI, to your macro question, I think they are becoming more and more commoditized, tech and AI. So lately, creating a complex website has become a half an hour, 1 hour job, right? Which was not true probably 5, 6 years back. From a distribution perspective, new and new marketing channels are coming up, right? Instagram was not there maybe 5 OTMs back. From a travel influence perspective, right? Today it has become an important channel for any travel company, at least the B2C side travel company. So I think those macro changes are there. And we being a tech company, so we invest and track it very, very actively as to how technology is coming on both the B2C and the B2B side of the travel sector. So that's something to look out for if we want to thrive over the next 5, 10 years in this space.
So I'll try to keep it short, as mentioned. I think the financial stability is something which should be focused upon. In India today, we've got some very large orders of aircrafts which have already come in from Air India and from Indigo. And this comes on the back of the financial capabilities that these airlines have actually came up with, right? So that's a very, very important factor to note. And if this doesn't happen, then we are not going to be able to grow with the demand which we are going to see today. And today, obviously, supply is a major challenge, and because of which, we are in a situation where the airfares are growing and all that. But at the same time, I think the capacity to grow into the Indian aviation market is immense. We look at only flights as a sector to focus upon. If you see the number of travelers in India today when it comes to the train travel, it's much larger than what it is, right? I mean, today there are about 6 to 8 million people who travel in long-haul trains on a daily basis, and only 400,000 people travel on domestic flights. So the biggest competition for the aviation sector is actually the train travel. So that's where the numbers are going to come in the future.
3 billion train passengers versus 200 million in the air side. Talk about the potential.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. So I think, thank you, good afternoon, everyone. We'll try and keep it short, all of us running late. I think in general, a lot of them has been echoed out here. And what I see is that how we as a country are politically stable, how we are more economically stable. These parameters are also very important for travel to grow in India. And I think we've seen this factor and effect of his post-recovery and how Indian travel has been post-COVID. And because we've been part of it and felt it, and we have some global data, we look at it. I think it's becoming one of the most mature market in terms of all segments of travel, and that even includes incoming into India. We see our leisure, MICE, other movements, and that's going to keep fueling India. We'll all have to deal with challenges of supply, I mean, which is known to our industry, and it's been a talking point for years. Limited, we could do it, wish we could do that, but yeah, thank you so much.
Lovely. So what we have on screen is the size of the Indian travel market. We talk a lot about the growth. So growth is point A plus the growth gets us to point B. So where we are 4,65,000 crore ka market. This is what we are. And air is half of the total Indian travel opportunity. And then by FY27, we will become 6.5 lakh crore ka market. Stellar CAGR of 11.7% across categories, but air is the fastest growing category. Slide number 2, please. So, because air is the largest market and you need air to travel outbound, that is your primary mode of transport. Indian aviation and especially the homegrown carriers, they are evolving, right? Indigo and LCC was ideally meant to be a no-frills, direct connect, direct distribution kind of play. There is a lot that is happening in the Air India group. How do you, and just even looking at outbound, right? Jaal on your side, India travels short haul. 70% of Indian outbound is UAE, Saudi, Southeast Asia, and USA is our only long-haul destination. So 2 questions are there. Number one, maybe anybody on the air side, Hussain or Anoop, you can take a stab at it. How are we seeing the air distribution evolving? And then the role, the duopoly that we have between Air India and Indigo Group. 90% of Indian supply is with two groups on the domestic side. So how do we see that evolving? And then the role that technology plays and how you guys empower your distribution network. Hussain, do you want to take the first stab?
Yeah, sure. So kudos to Indigo for creating the market, right? Today, 60% plus market share has been created by them rather than, they have a market share. A lot of people look at it negatively, but if they would have probably not done this, then we would have not had so much of aviation into India. And obviously on the back of Tata today, Air India is also extremely stable, and that gives us a lot of opportunity for us to grow the market, because the kind of investments that both of these major aviation carriers are going to make into this space is going to be relevant. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Just generally, we have a duopoly. So, for example, the role that the B2B guys have when we have a duopoly sort of market domestically, and then the way the airlines themselves are evolving from a low-cost carrier, you now have a business class and aspirations to fly medium haul and long haul, Indigo.
Yeah, so there's obviously so much capacity into India right now, and the aspirational travelers of tomorrow, I mean, they're ready to pay a very high premium price to, basically connect to any destination. There's so much FOMO happening into the Indian, space. Thanks to the back of social media, everyone wants to keep on just traveling. And the price that we are paying today is extremely high. So duopoly, I feel like it is short term. There could be a disadvantage if both these carriers are going to think short term. We are not going to have a long-term objective to follow. Like if you want to grow the market size, you want everybody in the entire ecosystem focused on the growth. So there could be a potential threat to margins, but I think that could potentially take care of it with the scale of operations that we are going to see in the future.
Anything to add, Anoop?
To add, I probably don't fully agree with the duopoly bit. Reason being, we have two other carriers and they've been holding out. They're only constrained because of some supply issues, aircrafts not coming in. SpiceJet, we have been talking, they have been surviving, holding on, they are now adding aircrafts. And it's a very temporary phase. 6 months back, we had third carrier, Vistara, which has merged. So these things will happen, the market will evolve, it happens worldwide. And who knows, in 5 years, we have space for 3 or 4 full-service carrier at a decent capacity in India.
Right.
No doubt about it. Current aircrafts, current airlines will not be able to suffice the growing market, and maybe they will not be able to meet the demand. So that's not a good news as of now, but let's see how it happens. On the distribution side, on tech side, and somebody who comes from GDS and who see the market very closely, it's a lot of challenge. In terms of catering to demand where you need, earlier it was GDS plus 3, right? Connectivity was 1 GDS and 3 LCCs, right? In 3 years, you might have GDS plus 1 in terms of NDC pipeline, then you have various direct APIs, then you have aggregators, and then you have so many other channels coming in. And for us, we are looking into this segment very, very carefully, and we are we work basically based on market need. So our hands are full, our pipeline for 5 years, we are getting big time into tech. The previous session talked about a lot of technology needs for TMC sector. We are working a lot on that. Then content side, how do we kind of bring more and more content to empower the agents? See, the large players will have their own tech team. They will manage their connectivity and all that. But we look at 6,000 plus agencies in India. And to empower them, we have certain requirement of providing them content, not only from GDS, not only from NDC, but other channels, aggregator. So I don't want to stretch it. It's a very heavy discussion, but in short, there's a lot of work to be done from the tech side. I don't want to talk about AI, ML, and post-booking automation. And there's so many things which are happening together. So I personally can't even imagine myself what's going to happen in 5 years in terms of tech, and it's changing fast. Every year there's something new, and we have been reading all about it lately.
Chirag, I'm coming to you on my slide number 3 very quickly, but what we have here is the outbound market grew, the passenger number grew by 10%. However, the Indian carriers, they grew, they outpaced the market growth resoundingly very well. Slide number 3, please. I want to come down to the distribution side. India domestic point-to-point OTAs, they are servicing that very well. On the air side, of the 27 million market, we have 17, of the 27 billion market, we have 17 billion that is offline, right? Phenomenal. It is a market that has remained offline historically and would continue to remain offline. And the international GBV of air actually contributes much more to the total GBV. Like domestic air, while you have more passenger numbers in dollar value, international air is much more significant. So offline is here, it was, it is, and it will remain here. Why? What are some of the core sticky points which allows travel advisors to remain intimate to their customer and make sure there is a customer loyalty?
Okay. So see, I'll answer that from a holiday package perspective, right? And then I'll flow it down to air as well. So we as a country, we still have a lot of people who have not even stepped outside, right? Outside of India. So there are a lot of first-time travelers. There are a lot of travelers whose parents are probably traveling and they would need a lot of hand-holding at every stage of the trip, right? Now, howsoever advanced we are as a travel company, we are effectively catering to offline travel agents, right? And what we see over there is there are two types of travelers. So one is who are short of time. So when they have like traveled a lot, they would not want to spend time on planning their own trip. So they reach out to a travel agency. Now, if you look at OTM down there, right, in the international hall, you will see new and new destinations every year, right? They were not present last year, but you will see them exhibiting with a reasonably big-sized booth, a lot of DMCs, a lot of hotel partners from there into India, right? So the travelers who have seen it all and short of time, doing well in their careers. So that is one segment of travelers, and they are frequent travelers, and they will reach out to a travel agency. Second is the first-time travelers or travelers who might have traveled enough, but maybe traveling with their kids. They want safety, security. So I think those are a couple of reasons why travel agents exist, and they will continue to exist, right? Anoop spoke about new passports coming up. So they will obviously need hand-holding. Now, if you look in a typical room in US, 1/3 of the people would have traveled abroad. In India, that number is considerably lesser, right? So in this room, we are the privileged ones who are in the sector and might have traveled enough, right? But for a general person in India, that is not true. So they need assistance.
27 million outbound passengers, very, very small for the size of the pop we have.
Yeah, it's nothing practically.
Nothing.
Yeah, compared to the size of the population and what opportunity we have. So international, I believe that happens to be an important reason. Jaal can add.
Jaal, how about non-air, outbound?
Yeah, so I think what we have to look at it, this segment and a breakup of it is that a lot of other travel segment is also outpacing Indian travel growth. And they are things like, adventure travel, you're looking at cruise tourism, and they're predominantly offline and will continue to stay offline because of various reasons, right? I mean, 20 years before, people would have spoken about golf. And you see today there are specialized travel for it and Indians are traveling and these are outpaced. I think traditionally certain travel segment also in India is built in such a way, community referral travel, other travel will continue to come for that funnel which will continue to stay offline. We need visas for many things, it's improving, but I think that also makes little dependency from a traveler to travel and then packaging and offline. You have groups which is a segment still holding on. And it's not that it's completely gone and we've become urbanized and I don't want to travel. I mean, you look at the new destinations which have come up and grown and things like, Vietnam, Cambodia, a lot of them are also due to group travels and package travel rather than online travel, right? I mean, we saw that we will ride this wave of, wow, Vietnam doing good and deploy contractors and contract. But I think it stays offline and it's doing well offline, right? I mean, air, yes, it could have been booked because it's been fueled by few low-cost carriers which has been flying from even places like Ahmedabad and stuff. But I think we always have to consider India as a complex market and it continue to stay, it won't change overnight. So we'll continue to see offline, those folks who are selling this, even domestic, because it has pilgrimage, so many other things, right? I mean, Kerala, for example, can't be sold completely online, needs vehicles, transportation, so yeah.
So we're talking about destination and you picked up Vietnam, a really good one.
Yeah.
Nowhere was on the map and suddenly we had whatever 700,000, I think, passengers. So really notched up. Any other call outs in terms of the other than, the top 10, the usual South Asia, Southeast Asia, and
Oh,
the
many,
GCC?
many. I mean, we see some CIS, right? Kazakhstan doing fairly well, picked up on incentive side. You see, and it's fueled by airlines flying, right? I mean,
Correct.
you have an
Collective
Indigo
airlift.
from here to Georgia, I mean, to Tbilisi, right? I mean, that's growing. And our adaptability, because, on certain segments, incentive to be specific, they are always in a lookout for new destination, offers more value, at times they are cheaper. And they are quick to bounce on to this because new routes you get more deals and it's the commercial mix. So I think a lot and wherever we are getting opportunity because of the new routes, you are seeing a tremendous demand. And Vietnam is a one good classic example. I mean, not heard 5-6 years ago that broadly. Yes, people were going. I mean, I had traveled around 14 years before, but yeah, not many like me.
You want to add anything, Chirag? Top destinations? Or the unusual ones, the ones who have recently caught up, notched
Right.
up?
Right. So see, the top 10 stays at top 10, I would say. But like Jaal said, that CIS countries, we see a lot of queries for Baku and Georgia.
Right.
And I would say it is also because of the flight connectivity, right? Indigo started the flights over there. So naturally, the ecosystem evolves basis the supply capacity. Um, so I'm fairly active on social media as well. And I see that a lot of my friends, families, they are traveling to Antarctica as well. Now that used to be a very luxury product till couple of years back, right? But people are now spending a lot more money on their travels. They are seeing it as an experience. They are seeing it as a opportunity to enjoy their life, I would say, right? A lot of people are opting for wildlife tourism. I see companies down there who are talking about wildlife in different cities in India and outside as well. So those theme-based travel is also evolving. So it's not just the country-based travel, but it's also theme-based travel which is evolving, sports tourism. Again, there are a couple of sports exhibitors down there. And these are the interesting trends to look out for as we travel more and more.
If you can have slide number 4. So I'll continue with you, Chirag. I do not have the breakup for the size of the B2B market in India. We don't have that. We want to have that. It could be anything between 50,000 agents to 250,000 agents, right? So at some point in time, I hope I have that number. What I do have here is a similar number for hotels. The number of keys. And if you see, we had 2.1 million keys in FY24. That number shrunk. So especially on the independent and unbranded side, as we came off the pandemic, there was a lot of conversion from a hotel users to other commercial purposes, right? So while the hotels were at an all-time high, backed by yield, occupancy, and higher ADRs, there was a shrinkage in the overall number of keys. I want to have your take on the advisor community, that during and post-pandemic, how have you seen that number evolve? And whatever advisors there are, how has their gross booking value contribution probably has increased? Because travel's been on steroids.
Got it. See, I think all four of us would have different numbers on our mind. I hear from 100,000 agents to around 350,000 agents in India.
Even bigger, right?
And probably even bigger. Somebody said there are 10 lakh travel agents.
10 lakh travel
10 lakh
agents?
travel agents, right? So now it gets down to definition of a travel agent as well. We have a couple of our travel partners who are like freelancers. They have started their travel agencies with us probably in the last couple of years. Starting a travel business has become a lot more easier. I would say it is impacting the quality of travel advisors also to some extent. But the entry barriers have further reduced compared to what it used to be earlier. And I would say how the demand is being generated is also a contributor to it. So we have a lot of travel agents who work with us. Probably started in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And they are doing volumes which you can't even imagine.
Okay.
Right? And they have surpassed travel agencies who have been there for the last 20 years. So I think those number of travel agents are increasing. The type of travel agencies, the context, the value add which they are bringing, that is evolving. And so I think it's a healthy sign for us. And as the industry grows significantly, so it's important that more and more players contribute to it.
Anybody else wants to contribute to that? Through technology, content, how you are working with the travel advisor community and how you
So
see?
the assisted travel market in India is obviously pretty large, and 70% of international travel happens through travel agents even today. And 50% of even domestic travel happens through assisted travel, which includes corporate travel as well. It's a very large market, and tomorrow I feel like the travelers, because the population of India About 50% of us are below the age of 35, and these people are aspirational travelers, and they are pretty steady when it comes to their financials, right? Most of them are working, most of them have sorted out their financials, and now they have some money and budgets to spend every year on travel. So the market is definitely going to grow from here, and these travelers are new travelers. They need a little bit of more hand-holding. So what we need to do as travel aggregators like tripjack.com, we try and provide all this information of new destinations to our travel partners on our website, try and influence a lot of these behaviors of new destination bookings and inculcate a habit of trying to sell more than just one product through our platform. And happy to report that 45% of our buyers actually buy flights and hotels both on our system. So there's a market which is growing. A lot of people need to start selling other ancillary services along with just flights, increase their revenues because there will be margin pressure obviously due to the duopoly that we see, but at the same time there are more opportunities for us to take from.
Okay, if I could have the last slide, slide number 5. So this is the OTA benchmarking, online travel agency benchmarking. As I said before, we want to have deeper research on the travel advisor offline traditional side also similarly, and I hope to have similar kind of analysis on that. But this is how the OTA pecking order looks like in FY24, 1,20,000 crore ka market. Or OTA Air is a 70,000 crore market. Make My Trip is the market leader in both, followed by, and this is all GBV, gross booking value, the sum total of all the merchandise sold. So with this as the backdrop and being mindful of the time, any last comments on any standout travel advisor or any tip that you may have as India continues to grow on steroids? Anoop, let's begin with you.
So there's a lot to talk, but I will just talk some basic numbers, and this is basically an output of a travel port survey globally, and I thought it's important to lay it down for everybody. So just wanted to lay down certain survey results from Travelport. It's a global survey, and it's relevant to all of us sitting here. Industries most guilty of using misleading pricing. No, this has become very important, and this is kind of an output of what we have been talking. Travel is number 2, with 44% guilty party, the airline, hotels, and travel companies. So this is number 2. The first one is credit card and credit card offers. The second thing which I wanted to, it's a very single number. The travelers, 56% of travelers think travel is more complex than it was 10 years ago. So this is kind of, we talked about it. And that is the kind of challenge all of us are trying to solve.
Last words, guys.
Yeah.
Time's up, but still, if you want to have any last closing remark, any tip onto the community?
Maybe thank you the best closing word. So that's it from me. No, I think travel agents also have to stay relevant. How we used to interact with travel agents before and traditional brick and mortar. And Reslive was launched in 2007 when there was not even a 3G in India. And we aspired to sell hotels to Indian travel agent, telling them you can buy everything. So it was very difficult. It's become much easier. And at the same time, they also have to be very relevant. So, our job is to tell them that, look, here is the Vietnam, we have a content. They'll have to continue to evolve and do that, and that's where they'll continue to grow and be more relevant to that travel agent. So I think personalization, we always hear this word, keyword, use of technology and the relevancy of it is going to help travel agent big time,
So I started in 2009 and I saw the growth of OTAs and online in US. I started working in market research and I thought the travel advisor community is going to dwindle. And we are in 2025. There is a clear half and half balance even in US, which is a very highly penetrated market. Travel advisors are not going to go anywhere. Travel is a very experiential product. You do need a lot of hand holding. So you guys are here and probably going to grow as the India grows. Thank you so much. Anoop, Chirag, Hussain, Jaal, lovely having you here. Thank you.